Hello, and welcome back to this week's Agape Leaders Monday Motivation. I'm excited to introduce this week's speaker, and I'm equally a bit sad because her name is Michaela McLean, and she is the reigning Miss Florida. At the end of this week, she will pass that title on to another deserving lady who will then spend the next year serving our state as Miss Florida. Over this past 2 years, because Michaela held the title for 2 years due to COVID, Michaela has been a superstar. And so I'm so thankful that she carved out some time to spend with us today. So without further ado, here is this week's Agape Leaders Monday Motivation guest speaker, Miss Florida, Michaela McLean.
Hey everyone, my name is Michaela McLean. I am the current Miss Florida, but not for long. I'll be giving it up on June 26th. I've been Miss Florida for over 2 years now because of the coronavirus and hold the title of the longest serving Miss Florida. Fun little fact there, both in 2019 and 2020, and I'm so thankful for the job. But I also own my own women's ministry called Be Brave and Beautiful, where I get to share inspirational and encouraging messages on Apple Podcasts. You can see us under Be Brave and Beautiful. And I'm actually going to share a message from one of my podcasts and just a testimony that I have been living out for the last couple months and even year and a half now. And it's called Be Unafraid of Transition. And I feel like transition is something that a lot of us don't like to talk about, but we're always in. We're always transitioning to something, whether it's graduating high school and going to college, or transitioning from being a single to married, or transitioning from having kids to having more kids, or getting a new job. We're always going to be pivoting and transitioning and shifting gears into new challenges and new seasons of life. And so when we think of the word transition, I think a lot of negative connotation comes with it. We think of an uncomfortable season. We think of a season of stripping. We think of a season of everything altering and changing and not going our way. And ultimately, no one really wants to go through a season of transition because you never know what's coming. It's really that gray area, that in between, and it's never truly black and white. But I'm here to tell you that transition is one of the greatest teachers, and you can learn so much in the in-between. And right now, I'm still in the in-between. Because of Miss Florida, I, like I said earlier, was awarded that extra year, and it's been a blessing in disguise, but it's also showed me that I'm in a very fat transition season that may come to a close here soon, but it's taught me so much. And if you're in the in-between, if you're in that waiting season, know that God is doing something so good in your life, and so much fruit is going to come out of your faithfulness and obedience in the waiting season. And so just to tap in on transitioning and how to transition well and how to transition in a godly manner that glorifies Him, I want to go more into why transition can be uncomfortable. So when we think of it, we think of all those uncomfortable seasons of waiting and not knowing what's next. And ultimately, transition can mess with our sense of self and with our identity. We're releasing all of our dreams and our desires in the midst of those transitions. When you think of a season where you're in the in-between, you don't really know what's coming. You may have this roadmap for your life, but you're not at the destination yet. Your car may still be moving and your wheels still may be turning, but you still don't know where God is going to direct you. And so this is how we can transition well. One, I think we need to know that knowing God will never leave us or forsake us will help you fully surrender in the transition season. Just like it says in Joshua 9, we serve a God that goes before us and behind us, and He wants the very best for your life. So if you're in the waiting and in the transitioning and in that season of not knowing what's next, just focus on the character of God. He's never going to leave you. He's never going to forsake you, and He ultimately has the best plan for your life. What He has in store is nothing what you could even think, ask, or imagine. And that is good news, people. That is something to hold fast on and just say, wow, I serve a God that literally wants the very best for me and wants something greater than I could even imagine for myself. I can say first out of testimony, when I got the news that I was Miss Florida for a second year, normally a lot of people would be like, wow, yeah, that's amazing. And I was, but partially I was also really scared and I felt very incapable. I felt like I just couldn't do it anymore. I didn't know if there was a lot more in me to fulfill 365 additional days of the job of Miss Florida. But I had to hold fast on the fact that the character of God, the fact that He's never going to leave me or forsake me, He's going before and behind me in this additional year, and He's going to equip me with all the tools and skills that I need. That is what anchored me in that additional year. So in those unpleasant transitions, focus on the character of God and know that He's never going to leave you, and what He has in store is far greater than what you could ever imagine. And now also know that the redemptive character of God will anchor you in any transition that you go through. We have to know that our God is an anchor. And for me, in the second year of Miss Florida, one of the biggest moving, shifting seasons of my entire life, I had to rely on the anchor of God. And how many of us can agree to the fact that 2020 showed us that everything can change all at once, and we have to have our anchors. And anchors can be certain people in your life, like your mom, a trusted best friend, an authority figure, but also anchors have to be first and foremost the presence of God, getting into His presence, getting plugged in, growing closer in intimacy with Him. Nothing is going to anchor your soul, your spirit, and your mind the way that the character of God will. And so, lastly, surrender. So we have knowing that God won't leave you or forsake you, knowing that the character of God will anchor you, and then also surrendering everything to Him. This is easier said than done. Surrendering everything to the Lord can be so uncomfortable, because if you pray the dangerous prayer of, Lord, strip me of anything that will hinder me from fully experiencing you, He's going to listen and know that He's going to listen and that He's going to answer. And so when you say, God, I surrender it all, strip me of anything and replace it with only what you want in my life, you're going to realize that that process is uncomfortable and the transition season might be a little longer than expected. But just know, going back to what I first said, transitioning is it's the greatest teacher. It is a teacher that will show you that God is in control, that He loves you, He will never leave or forsake you, and that you're waiting is not wasted. And so I'm just praying this over whoever listens to this today. Know that God has such an incredible plan for your life, and He is a God of the details. He's working behind the scenes, and He wants you to know that you may be in the in-between, but God is the beginning and He is the end. And so whether you fall in a place where it may be gray and it's not black and white, God is there and He wants to be there. He wants to comfort you in the transition season, and He wants to know your waiting is going to be paid off in full, and that is not wasted, and that He is doing something so deeper than anyone could see with their own naked eye. He's doing a soul work. He's doing a character work. And He wants you to just rest in the waiting and know that He is a good, good Father. So I hope this encourages you guys today. And in the meantime, you can go follow me at Be Brave and Beautiful. Would love to chat more there. God bless you guys. I'm praying over you and believing that God is just going to reveal more of His character to you day by day. And just know that you're chosen, you're loved, you're set apart, and you're called for incredible things in His kingdom. God bless.
Thank you so much, Michaela, for gracing us with your presence this week. But more importantly, thank you for the last 2 years, more than we could ever really deserve. You did an amazing job. And now I pray that all the things that you are looking to do will come to fruition in your life. Thank you. Well, that's all we have for this week's Agape Leaders Monday Motivation. Until next time, you have a blessed week.